Good morning. I'll turn down the music here. It's been a while since I've done any of these. A lot going on this summer. And, hey, a lot of other crap going on this summer around the world. I've probably touched on this before, but I would like to touch on it again. And there was a time in my life that I had to kind of hit reality. No matter what I wanted in my life, I had to hit the let me turn that down. Hit the truth and the reality. And I go back to who I am, what I want to stand for, what I want to, knowing that there's been a lot of years of molding from the world and situations and traumas and trials and you name it. So that being said, I came to that point that I had to look at things for the reality that it is. And I'm not going to go all-encompassing looking at the whole cosmos of life, but I will touch base on politics. And it only because it comes down to politics on this one branch. But the fact is, I had to look at the reality of time within my own life, time for posterity of our country, and time looking back on history. For both. And when I started looking at it, was about the same time, it was about the same time the 2016 election was starting to get into swing, and I was just looking at the social aspect and seeing how people react and blah, and I'm just looking and going, I can bring in spirituality to everything. But I can also, and it's also because of that, I can compartmentalize, separate out humanity from it. That's my faith. Christ told us to realize fleshly and stuff like that. So, and know that man is fallible. That being said, going back to the politics, back then I kind of faced the reality. And the reality was that we were put in a situation where my particular platform of choice had to be looked at, because no matter how I wanted to believe in it, it is being ran by man. It is being ran by things that I cannot control, powers that I cannot control. And so knowing that, I looked at the situation and realized they didn't have my best interest in play. That the candidate that they wanted was not of my choosing. I'll say it that way. And so And the more I looked at it, that candidate didn't even share the realities of the platform at that time. And I think we all know who I'm talking about. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized something's really messed up here. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it until, once again, looking at time and history, and you end up going into that whole tenure of that president. And the more it came out, the more I realized, and not that I'm right, but I was seeing things correctly. Okay? I don't care if I'm right or wrong. You know? And the only dog that I had in the fight was whether I had chose the right option. Okay? A lot happened in life with me during that time phase, and I started seeing people around me kind of struggling, kind of whatever, and I tried to map it out for myself. Well, because of my experience in my work and in discernment and in a few other avenues, what ended up closing that chapter that year with the election definitely told me I was right. Now, whether God's hand is in any of this, I don't know. That's for a whole nother discussion. Okay? The fact is that the election wasn't stolen. Yet, there was this big narrative, a false narrative, being played out. And it quickly came to my attention that a lot of people that were on that side were looking at it and listening to lies. I'll just say it that way. We're not going to face the reality. And the more I listened to this quote-unquote deep, dark state BS, I realized the deep, dark state was coming from that side as well. I'm not going to say that there is one. I'm just going to say that there was more manipulating going on there that needed to be paid attention to. Are you following me so far? You know, it's sad, but I know in my heart of hearts and through my experience that I set all pride aside. You know, I set all pride aside and I just go, hey, this isn't me. I mean, or I won't say this isn't me. This is, you know, I'm just looking and seeing it for the reality that it is. Okay? Because I sure as hell am not going to follow down that road if it's not a truthful situation. I'm not saying I'm clean. I've fucked up many times in my life. And if that language is shocking, that's part of it too. But I've had to embrace reality of not only my own decisions, but man's decisions, because this is the world I live in. Okay? And this was another point when it came down that I really had to solidify my political stance. I realized, wait a minute, I can't get behind this candidate. And I'll say it in another way. even if I hadn't reached that reality in 2016, 2020, I definitely would have reached it. All things pointed to a manipulating on his part, not on who he said was doing it. All things pointed that way. We live in a country that innocent until proven guilty. You walk in with all the cards and you lay them down. There may be lawyers that play these different cards different ways, but you lay them all down and say, this is the reason why, my stance. Okay? You had a party, the Republican Party, that had that chance at that time, saying this is the reason why we think the election was stolen. And they blew it on a major scale and on multiple chances. Okay? The more I started looking at the players talking about this crap and trying to push this, I realized, wait a minute, this is a shady deal going down. And you've got a lot of people that believe in it. And I don't get it. I don't get it. And I looked. Please, if I'm wrong, then show me. If I'm right, then show me. I asked for God's discernment. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter. Any way you shake it, there's not some sci-fi matrix going on that is in play, trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. I'll say it that way. The reality is that there was no steal. You had the whinings of an old man who was very power hungry, very narcissistic. And I just kind of had to back away, because if you're looking at everything in 4-year increments, that old man was going to get older too. Once again, now we come up to 2024. Guess what? They're in the same boat. You have a whole bunch of people that have chosen to run this operative using that old man as the catalyst, or as the catalyst, as the running gear and all that. And I just look and go, no, you guys are going to run into the same problem. Now, when you add that on top, I hope you're following me, because I'm having a hard time explaining this all down. But if you're worried about the country that you live in, and God, we should always be, there's situations around the world that have eyes on us that just want to tear us down. We don't have to make America great. We were very, very good at one time. We are the protectors. We watch over things. Despite situations that go on in our country, we are great. And so I would welcome the chance to be wrong, but, and I mean welcome it wholeheartedly. If someone said, no, you're wrong, this was stolen, show me. But, and I've brought this point up before, like CSI work, I'm just showing you where the evidence goes. Show me the evidence where the narrative changes. Show me the evidence where this candidate is proven himself to be worthy to run a country, show me the evidence where this candidate is civil, I'll believe you. I will wholeheartedly believe you. But so far, everything points in the opposite direction. That's all I'm saying. There we go. There's my 15 minutes of bantering. Wish you all a great week. Happy summer. Happy July. And, hey, like always, nothing but love. Nothing but love.